Then. Thanks for coming, everyone. Yeah, this is like a very basic intro to working with NFL data in R. So really excited to get these tutorials rolling. We'll do them every other week, Mondays the same time, 6 to 7 Eastern. Unless that doesn't work for the majority of the people, then we can switch it or do something else. But since we had some people show up today, I think this one should be good. So we're gonna start off just talking about like this our studio setup in general. So what I did here was I clicked this little drop down menu and I clicked new project. And so what that like led me to was a screen where I was able to create like a new project. So I just called it NFL R tutorials. Like if you go through new directory and the new project, then you're able to create a project like that. If I were to start R over again, I would have created a subdirectory where I could put all these R projects, but they're kind of just like sitting in my home on my computer right now, which is fine, I guess. So yeah, so you can just name the directory, create a project, and you should be good to go. Then you can get a screen like this. So the console area is where you can you can type out code, but most people don't do this. Like you can just type x is 7, print x. What most people do, and what I recommend, is coming up here to the top left and creating a R script. So now you can get this area where if you mess up the code, like if you have a typo where it's like, I meant to type the arrow there, you don't have to like copy this again, or like you don't have to like retype it out. Your script can like, it's very helpful for when you're typing like really big files and stuff like that. So so when you open the script, usually the first thing that I do is load my libraries. But if this is your first time with RStudio, you need to install a lot of these packages. So how we do that is we can type out install.packages, and then tidyverse is the main one to install. It has everything. It has all the different functions that we're going to use to analyze data and stuff like that. So if you type out install.packages tidyverse, then it should work. So if you need to, you can, I'll send this link in the chat that I typed up yesterday. So if you need a copy and paste something, like when I'm typing out the code, just remove these comments here, because I commented them out because I didn't need to run them. I've already installed them. So you can just do that for each package that we're going to use today. So the main one with all the nflfastR data, the GG image one that we're going to use to plot NFL logos, and the GT table one, which we can make nice looking tables. So if anyone aren't able to run this code or falls behind, just let me know, and like let me know if I'm going too fast and stuff like that. So to run like the code, you can highlight it. You can click this run right here, and it'll run the selection of the lines. Or it says that you can do command enter. For a Mac, I think it's control enter for Windows computers. And so that's a good way to run the code. It's just really easy. So after you run those 4 lines and load in the packages, we should be good to go. The next step would be to actually load each package now that, so you only have to run these install.packages lines once in your whole time using R. So once you install them, they're good to go. But each time you have to load the individual packages you think you're gonna use here. So load tidyverse, which is like a pretty big package, so it's gonna take a while. So it'll yeah, see it has all these packages as part of it. Load the nflfastR package, which has the play-by-play data and the logos and stuff like that. So that'll load too. GG image to get the images, and then the GT table. So was anyone not able to do that, or we're all good?
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
Do we have to like copy it from the top and then paste it to the bottom for it to go?
Oh no, you can highlight and then click this run button right here, or you can do Command Enter if you're on Mac, or Control Enter if you're on Windows. Did that work?
I think so. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know if you need anything else. Okay, so if we all got that going, we can load in some play-by-play data and start to like play around with it, right? So nflfastR has this package called load underscore play-by-play. So you can see it's part of the nflfastR package, and it tells you loads in multiple seasons from the data repo, and then kind of writes it to your environment here. So let's load in 2020 and 2021. So we can do that 2020 colon 2021. And so that that'll load in the play-by-play data. I'll dump that in the chat here in case anyone needs it. So now we can see in our top right in the environment that we have 54,000 rows of play-by-play data and 372 columns. So one of the things we can do is we can just look at the first 5 rows of the data using this head function. So if you used Python before, you can use the head function to look at the beginning data row. So it prints out this stuff, the play ID, the game ID. So we can see this is 2020 week 1 Cardinals, 49ers, who the home team is, who the away team is, if it's a regular season game, if it's what week, who the possession team is, and then who the defensive team is, side of the field, yard line, all that stuff. So that's good to see. If we just wanted to look at select columns, we can do that too. So it says that there's 360 more variables to look at that didn't print for us because it would have been too much in the console. So we can look at post team, defensive team, season, down, yards to go, whether it's a rush or pass, yards gained, and then we can throw the head on that too. So now what we're doing is we're using this pipe right here, which is the parenthesis symbol, the greater than symbol, and the parenthesis symbol, and we're stringing stuff together. So we're stringing both the select function and the head function together to get this play-by-play data, so that we can see it more clearly. So if we run that, we can see that we just have this stuff. So these 2 plays must have been special teams if there's no down because they're NA. This play was probably the first play of the game, then 1st and 10, and San Francisco passed the ball for 5 yards. So that's a good start. We're getting more acclimated with the data set. And then to take that to the next level, we can see what the column names are in the data set. So if we do names, parenthesis, play-by-play data, close parenthesis, and then we can see that nflfastR has all of these column names, right? So the stuff that we looked at here, and then we can look at all of this. Like there's a lateral. They list who the interception player was, which happened in Chargers Cowboys yesterday. There is some the quarterback's expected points added, the pass rate over expected. All this stuff is stuff that we can play around with as we move on. So it's nice to see those columns as we pick what we want to look at exactly. I'll send these 3 lines in the chat if anyone needs it. And then remember, you can click on the the GitHub if you have to go and copy something. So has everyone been able to do that so far? Okay, perfect. Good start. So now I kind of mentioned this earlier, but another thing you can do is look at the amount of rows in the data set. So the 54,070 rows is what we see up here in our environment. And then if we want to even open the data set just to get a full look of it, this is the view. You can do view, or you can just click on it. And then there's all this stuff in here that we can see, like their timeouts, whether they took a timeout, stuff like that. Okay, so now we want to, the goal of today is to evaluate how teams have changed from 2020 to 2021, what we know so far about teams. So we want to see, how they've done on offense and stuff like that. So what we want to do is, we saw that when we were looking at the 49ers Cardinals game, that there were some plays where it wasn't a rush or a pass, right? So those are probably special teams plays, so we don't really want to look at those. So we're gonna create a new data frame called play-by-play run pass, or RP for short. Use this arrow to say we want it to come from the play-by-play data set into the play-by-play run pass data set. We're going to use the pipe to go to our next function, which is a filter function. And we're going to filter just for rushes. So rush equals 1, or passes. So pass equals 1. The straight vertical line thing is or symbol. So filter rushes or passes. And then also we can do another filter on top of that. So we use the pipe to string all of this together. And we don't want plays where there's an NA for yards gained, right? Even if there's some runs pass, or I guess we're going to look at EPA. So we don't want NA for expected points added, right? That's a way to evaluate offenses. So we can do this is.NA, so it'll find all the NAs, and we can put the exclamation point instead of it, which is saying not. So the exclamation point is saying the 7 not equal 9 true. So this is what we want to get our clean data set that we're going to work with. So highlight those lines and run it. Now we can see in our environment, we're now down to we're now down to 39,000 rows. So this was a good way to be able to clean the data set. And then we can kind of play around with it, and we can say, let's check in on how Dallas passed the ball, since they've had a couple quarterbacks play since 2020. Let's see who was the best passer for Dallas. So we take we take our data frame, use the pipe to pipe the filter there. Oh, sorry, we already did filter, yeah. Now we group by passer, player name, so that drop down pops, or that the drop down pops up. We want to summarize the amount of passes that they've thrown. So passes equals n open parenthesis close parenthesis. We'll count how many times each passer player's name that we group by showed up in the data set. And then we can also get their average EPA. So we filtered out just to make sure we have EPA numbers here. So now that we have that, we can run it and see what happens. So I'm not going to actually, I'm not going to run this pipe right now. Let's just see what it prints out. So we can see the different types of passers for Dallas right here, right? So we can see that there's an NA passer. So these might have been plays where they got sacked or something. So we can go back up here and we can say, oh yeah, we don't want those. So why don't we filter out passer player name 2. So if we run that again, now there's no NAs. But another thing is CD Lamb threw 1 pass and it wasn't that good. And like we don't want that. Like we just want to evaluate quarterbacks that like actually played a significant amount of, or actually threw a significant amount of passes for Dallas. So why don't we just filter and see 10 passes. So after we run this, we see 10 passes. This is a little bit confusing to look at because they're sorted by alphabetical order. So we can run an arrange function, which will sort them by average GPA. So if we run that, now they're sorted, but they're sorted upside down because R will sort worst to best. So Ben DiNucci is, it looks like he's the first quarterback here. So instead of that, we can go and we can put a negative sign in front of average GPA. And now Dak Prescott was their best passer last year, 0.12 expected points added per play. So his average GPA was 0.12. Andy Dalton, negative 0.04. Garrett Gilbert wasn't good, and Ben DiNucci was really, really bad. So, so that's a good way of just looking at one team in the data. Sent that in the chat if anyone needs it. Okay, so if everyone's good there, we can move on to comparing offenses in 2020 versus 2021 and plot it. Was anyone not able to run this? Sweet. Okay, so now we're gonna take, so now the plan would be to create 2 data sets here, offenses in 2020, offenses in 2021, and merge them together based on the teams, right? So how we can go about this is we can start off by doing offenses 20 data set, take our play-by-play run pass, which we know is clean. We want to filter season equals 2020. We can group by instead, so like up here we group by passer player name. Here we can group by possession team. We can summarize and get their EPA, these plays. So filter just for 2021, group by possession team, filter. Now we can open this up. So if we're thinking we're like, who was the best offense last year? You know, it was the Packers, it was the Chiefs. So they should be on top. So we look at that. Oh, Titans too. So these were the 3 best offenses last year. They're on top. At the bottom, Jets, Broncos, Giants. That makes sense. So I think we can say that we did this right. Offenses 21. We can do basically the same thing where we filter, but for 2021, we group by again. We summarize, and we're going to call this column EPA 21. So, oops, sorry. So now we can open this. We can think again, who have the best offenses been this year so far? It's been the Rams, it's been the Chiefs. So if we look at that, Chiefs are 1, Broncos are 2, Rams are 3, Browns. Look at the worst. Green Bay has been the worst offense, 1 game sample size, not a huge deal. They play Detroit tonight, so I'm sure they'll move up the rankings. And then Falcons have been bad, which makes sense. Dolphins have been bad. So I think we did this one right also. So something that we can do to join these data sets together now, because they're 2 separate, right? We have EPA 20 and EPA 21. We want to join by the team ID. So new data set, offenses all. We start off with offenses 20. We pipe, and we do this called left join, which is it'll take the IDs we have for each team right now. It'll join it with the new data set that we want to join in, kind of connect them. So we want to left join offenses 21, and we want to do that by post team. We put that in quotes. Offense is all. Open that. So now we have both 20 and 21, which is great. Okay, so now how are we gonna plot the logos of each team? nflfastR has this built-in thing called Teams Colors Logos, which has each team's abbreviation, the team name, their colors, which are very useful, and then their team logo on Wikipedia and ESPN, and their team word mark too, which is really helpful. So anyway, I'll send this in the chat before we move on here. So now we can do offenses. So we want to keep the same data set. Offense is all. And then we'll go offense is all into offense is all. Left join teams colors logos by equals post team. But this doesn't work because in the teams colors logos, they call it team abbreviation, but we have it as post team. So what we can do is we can do by post team equals team abbreviation. So you want to do first the data set of, the column name of the original data set, and then have the team abbreviation, or the second data set is that one. Sorry, I forgot. You have to do this C thing in R, where like if you have multiple things, it's like kind of like a list. So now we can join that in. So now we have offense is all, EPA 20, EPA 21, and all this stuff, right? Like their logos and everything. So that's great. That's exactly what we want, because now we can make the plot with team logos. So most people in R plot with ggplot, which is great. It's like its own kind of graphing language inside of R. So we can start off with a pipe with our data set, ggplot, and then ggplot does this thing where it wants you to put all the things from the data set inside an AES function. So you can see AES X, Y. So we want to set our X to EPA 20. We want to set our Y to EPA 21. And then we're good to go there. In ggplot, instead of using the pipe to go between parts of the graphing, like when you're stacking things on top of each other in the graph, it uses the plus sign. So the first thing we're going to want to do is do a geom image. So geom image is loaded in from ggimage, which we loaded up here, and that is going to put the team logos for us. So AES image equals team logo ESPN. So we have that. Now we're going to want to set a size for the logos. My go-to is always 0.05. And then you're also want to do an aspect ratio for the logos, like how are they going to show up? So we're doing this outside of the AES once we close the parentheses, because team logo ESPN is something that's in offense is all, but size and aspect ratio are our own parameters. We're going to add theme black white because R's default is to show every graph in like some gray background, and it doesn't look that nice. So this will make the graphs look a little bit more nice. Another common one is theme minimal. So either one is, I think, pretty good. They all look pretty good, and stuff like that. Then we're gonna want to add our labels on top of that. So you do that through labs. We're gonna want to say offenses EPA per play in 2020. Offensive EPA per play in 2021. And then title is offensive EPA per play in 2020 compared to 2021. And then caption it. So I'm gonna put my name. This is good for if you put it on Twitter or put an article. If it starts to get shared, people know where to find you, right? So put my name, put my Twitter, and then mfans. So you can run that, and then all the plots will pop up in the bottom right. And so we can kind of see that load. Usually, plots with team logos take a little while to load. I guess it's tough to plot like 32 teams. It's even tougher if you work with college data and you have to plot like the Power 5 or something. But pops up right here, so we can kind of see it. Then you can even use, I usually use Zoom just to like get a bigger picture of it and see how it's looking, stuff like that. So this is cool. Like we can see Packers were really good in 2020. They're the worst offense right now in 2021. Chiefs are always good, stuff like that. But I want to know two things. If my team's offensive performance in 2021 is above average right now, and then if there's a correlation between 2020 and 2021. So way to check that is we can go back up here, and when you have to plot in ggplot, like the things that you put later on are stacking on top of each other. So we want these lines that we're about to plot to kind of go in the background so we can still see them, but they're not on top of stuff. So under the ggplot, we're going to want to do geom h line, which stands for horizontal line, and we're going to make a y-intercept. And then we're going to want the average. So the mean offense is all. $sign is how you access stuff inside each data set. So if you see if you can do, if you do this str to kind of get a feel of the data set, it'll say $sign post team, stuff like that. So since this is the y-intercept, we want the average for 2021. Now outside of the mean, we want it dashed because we don't want to take up too much attention, but we still want it there. And then we can do the same thing for V line, which is offense is all. Okay, 20. Oh. Line type equals dashed, stuff like that. And then we want to see, is there a correlation between 2020 and 2021? So geomsmooth does this. So now we have our H line and V line. So we'll have our dash lines, and then we can see it in geomsmooth. And then it'll say like which type of method it's using. So it's using lowest curves, which is kind of it's like a curvy way to fit data, and we can plot it. Yeah, it's just running here. There we go. So we can see this line down here, and it's it's blue, which is not great, and like the way it plotted was like it's curvy, so like it kind of made like an M shape, which if we want to see like a line of best fit, it's not the right way to go. So we can do stuff inside the geomsmooth to change that. So the first thing we can do is we can do method equals lm to make it like a linear line. We can change the color to black to fit the rest of the theme of the plot. And then the standard error bars are good for statistical analysis, but we don't really need that on our plot right now. So we can do s equals false. Another thing we can do is we can kind of modify this black and white theme that we have. I don't like how the title of the graph is starting on the left side. I think it should be a little bit bigger so it's easier to read. So under labs, we can come down here. we can do plot.title to access that if you wanted to do, if you wanted to access the x-axis, you can do axis.title to change both of them. If you just want to do the x-axis, you can do that, right? So plot.title, element text, because it's a text element. And then we can make it bigger, size 18. We can make it bold, base equals bold. And then we can move it to the middle. So h just equals 0.5. Send this in the chat. Oh, there's. Did anyone have trouble plotting this, or did the plot work for everyone? So we can see our line of best fit since there's no, since it's very early this season. So there's some outliers. So line of best fit popped up here where it's basically right on the y-intercept line, which is pretty funny. So once the Packers move up, stuff like that, we should start to see this become more of a correlation here. But it's cool to see, like, with these dashed lines, we can see like Rams and Broncos offenses were below average last year. They've become above average this year. And then Chiefs offense is always good. Jets offense is always bad. These are the teams that have gotten worse in offense. So that's cool to see the different quadrants and stuff like that. Okay, and then to save this plot so that you can send it to people or tweet it out, ggsave is the way to go. So off EPA 2021.png. We can set a width, we can set a height, and then we can save it like that. I saw someone one time do DPI equals retina, just means it shows up like clear. So if you do that, I don't think you have to, but yeah, that's the way to go. So yeah, that's how you make a team logo plot. So now we can let's evaluate like quarterback aggressiveness or something, right? So we haven't used the mutate function yet. So a good way to measure quarterback aggressiveness would be how many yards do they throw past the sticks? So we do the $sign, type in yards past sticks, but there's no yards past sticks column. So we can create that on our own. So mutate yards past sticks equals the air yards that they throw, which we know is a column because it popped up here, minus the yards to go to get the first down. So run that. Now it says that we have 373 variables in the data set because we mutated. So now we can create a new data set based off that called QB aggressiveness. We can filter any plays where a quarterback didn't throw. So use the is.na. And I mean, we can do it just where we evaluate like third and fourth down, like late down aggressiveness. So this is a really helpful thing. The in operator, so it's it's percent sign in percent sign. So we can do in 3, 4. So this is good if you want to do like if you just want to evaluate like NFC East quarterbacks or something. You can do passer player name in Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, etc. I mean, obviously it would be easier just to do down greater than equal to 3 here, but just wanted to show how to do this. Group by passer player name. summarize their amount of late down passes. So we can call that passes equals n. Their average yards past the sticks. Mean yards past the sticks. And we need their team abbreviation, which is like, so we can use this last to get the team that they're currently on, basically, just so that we can join the team's colors logos later on. So filter passes above 70. I just kind of picked that as a good cutoff. Team's colors logos, and we called this team abbreviation, so we can make it easy on us. Team abbreviation was that. So see how we can pipe all these things together. We can open up quarterback aggressiveness, and we can kind of look at it. Cam Newton, not aggressive. Russell Wilson, very aggressive. So that's what we expect to see just from watching games and stuff like that. So that's good. And then out of this, we can make a bar graph using the same kind of GG setup. Average yards past the sticks. And then we can do passer, player, name. Geom bar to get bar plots. So like here we did geom image and geom smooth to get the lines. This is a different one. Geom bar. Stat equals identity. In black white. So it's just a very basic plot. We're gonna add stuff here in a second. So this is what it looks like. It's sorted in opposite alphabetical order. And then we can see each quarterback's yards past the sticks, but it doesn't look that nice. Like I wouldn't want to really look at this graph. So there's stuff we can do to make it look nice. The first thing is it should be in order of most aggressive to least aggressive. So inside this AES right here, we can use this function called FCT reorder from the forecast package. And we can say we want it to be reordered by the yards past the sticks. Oh shoot, sorry, I should have sent this in the chat. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, so now we reordered it by their average yards past the sticks. So now it'll be in this order instead of this order. We can color the bars based on which team they're a part of. So we use the AES to get in there. Fill equals team color. Color equals team color 2. So this will give an outline of their secondary team color. And then we can make the bars a little bit lighter. So we can control that with the alpha. So alpha goes from 0 to 1. Just make it 0.8. Now should start looking better. If it plots here, mess something up. Okay, so now we get this mess. So we tried to plot the team colors, didn't work out for some reason. And then it also gave a legend for each team color and stuff like that. So this is this type of stuff that happened to me all the time when I was learning. So I learned that you have to always have scale color identity, which says like take these colors and actually make them like what they should be. And then you just set it where you want it to be both fill and color, right? Because we have fill and color up here. Under the theme black and white, we can do, so we want to call this average late down yards past sticks. The y-axis, we want to say passer name. Title, how aggressive each quarterback is on late downs. Subtitle, big thing that I sometimes forget is putting the years that this is in. Could be anytime, could be just this year, stuff like that. So, and then minimum of 70 passes to qualify. Sweet, so that's good. So we have our labs, but we want to get rid of these legends here with the colors. So the way we can do that is we can do legend in the theme. We can do legend position equals none. Oh, and then we also want to do the same thing that we did last time, where we want to move the title to the middle and stuff like that. Size equals 18. Base equals bold to make it bold. H just equals 0.5. But that subtitle equals, oh, sorry, this should be element text. Same thing, element text. Size equals, let's do 14. H just equals 0.5. And then the panel grids become a little busy, I think, for the y-axis, and like we can kind of see the bars for the quarterback anyways. So we can do this panel dot grid dot major dot y. So the major panel grids we can control with element line instead of element text. We can say let's make them 0.1 instead of 1. Let's make them a little bit smaller so that they don't show up so big. So now we have a much nicer looking plot. We can see Russell Wilson and his bar is colored now and it has the right colors. Cam Newton all the way down here, stuff like that. Okay, since we have 5 more minutes left, if we had time, I was gonna quickly do a table. So, oh, let me send this in the chat. And then, yeah, then we'll be good to go. So we can call this QBGT. So we just want to collect it. We just want to select a couple. We just want to select a couple for the table. Average yards. We're just mutating to the same thing because we want to round it. Because right now this doesn't look good in a table when there's a bunch of bullet points. So use the round function, round it. You know, we want to range by the average, and we do the minus sign to get top to bottom. We're going to want to mutate again now that we've ranked. We can do mutate rank equals row number. So what that'll do is it'll give Russell Wilson number 1, Aaron Rodgers number 2 that way. We want to select their rank, their name, team word mark, because that'll look cool in the plot, and then their average yards to pass. And then we can pipe into the GT package, which is what we loaded at the beginning. So this is our table, but the team logos don't show up because we need to do something with those. So we didn't load in this package, but R has this cool thing where if you don't load in a package, you can still access it by doing double colons after that package name. If you've already had to, I think you should be able to get this. So GT Extras has this. So this is some helper stuff for GT tables. So it has this get GT IMG rows, which will take these team word marks and it'll put their word marks now. So now it shows Russell Wilson plays for the Seahawks, Aaron Rodgers plays for the Packers, etc. And then we want to label. We want to relabel these because I don't want passer player name with underscores, right? So I just want to call that pass there. So that looks better. Team word mark, we don't need a label. So what we can do for that is we can do empty quotes, average yards per, we can call late down yards past sticks. Run that. And oops. Oh, what did I do? Oh, sorry. It's not calls, it's a calls label. Okay, so now we have our new names laid down. And then we can make this look nice. So GT extras, we can see there's some if we look at like what they have some themes in here. So theme ESPN seems pretty cool. You can make tables that look like ESPNs. So if we run that, now there's, it looks nice. There's some like alternating colored rows and stuff like that. And then we want a title. So we can use that using tab header. Late down yards past sticks. So boom, now we have that. And then now we have our table, which is good to go. If you want to save it, you can call it an object. So like you can call it like GT save. And then you come down here and you do GT save.png. So I'll send this in the chat. That's all I had for today. I hope everyone found this helpful. I'll stay after for like 10 minutes. If anyone has questions or something went wrong, you guys can share your screen or anything, but should be good to go. So thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.